Okay, let's talk about something good because there are some very, very good things happening here at the State Department, the Pentagon, believe it or not, and other places inside of the government. Let's just recap where we are and why these things are necessary. The federal government is enormous, way, way, way too big. If you could hold up in front of the founders of this country the size of the modern day federal government, they'd probably just hand the country back to the British. They would look at you like you were insane and say, well, what is this? Government's supposed to be limited here and small. It's enormous. And these various agencies, like the State Department, which we'll get to in a moment, they actually run things. You realize that? You know, you see some new shakeup at a company. We'll call it Starbucks. There's a big shakeup at the company, at Starbucks, and they'll say, well, there's a new CEO. Have you ever noticed, if you track these things, that the company kind of stays exactly where it was? There aren't new menu items. Stock price, if you look at that thing, the stock price is kind of exactly where it was. I thought there was a big shakeup. They got a new CEO. Leadership matters. The CEO is not running anything. He's not setting menu items. Oh, I know he has responsibilities, but the vast corporation that is Starbucks has more vice presidents and managers and this guys, and they're the ones who run things. The United States government is full of communists. 3 million, roughly, federal employees. Well north of 90% of them are committed communists, registered Democrats. They vote Democrat, give to Democrats. They are committed communists. And people like you and people like me, we get frustrated when we go to the polls and we vote. Let's say we went and voted for Trump in November, which I did. We go vote, we get Trump in there, we get a Republican in there, and things don't change, or at least not that much, not that quickly. You get some good executive orders, but why don't things change? Well, because it's that 3 million person army, that's how you need to think of them, of communists. They're the ones actually running day-to-day operations. And nothing will change, nothing can change until those people are either replaced and, or better off, removed. That is the goal, removed. Let's talk about the State Department. You see, the United States of America has had one foreign policy for most of my entire life. There haven't been huge policy differences because the president doesn't really run the foreign policy. The State Department does. These people, legions of them in the State Department, they are spread not only all across America, they're all across the globe. That's the important part here. And no matter what the Republican president says or Democrat president says, they are marching forward like little minions. They are carrying their message, their view forward, no matter what the big boss says, no matter what you said at the polls. Doesn't matter what the last election was. And there's no way to stop this disgusting, criminal, corrupt system unless you're going to make changes. Marco Rubio, man, I'm not even a Rubio fan, I'll be honest. Historically, if you've watched this show for any length of time, you've heard me be very hard on Rubio at several different occasions. Rubio's been very impressive as Secretary of State, and he did something wonderful. Did it fix everything? Of course not. But he closed 132 agency offices, 700 positions gone. Now, just stop for a moment, because this is not only a good thing, it gives you some idea of what we were dealing with. 132 offices? 132 offices. That means in various locations around the globe, we had 132 different offices that you pay for, 700 positions, you pay for those too, operating as if they run foreign policy. That's insane. You can't have a country like that. And of course, I know the reasons why they put that system in place. There's a reason communists put that system in place. It insulates them from the voter. Doesn't matter. Go ahead and elect your Republican. We have all the communists we want at the State Department. We'll do whatever foreign policy we want. Remember last time Donald Trump impeached from within his own State Department? That's how they work. Rubio's making changes, and I applaud him for it. Sounds like he's making changes as it pertains to Russia, Ukraine, too. This is exactly how we should be talking.
The president has spent 87 days at the highest level of his government, repeatedly taking efforts to bring this war to an end. We are now reaching a point where we need to decide and determine whether this is even possible or not, which is why we're engaging both sides. We need to figure out here now within a matter of days whether this is doable in the short term, because if it's not, then I think we're just going to move on from our perspective.
That's wonderful. I think we're just going to move on. And look, he doesn't speak out of turn. He's not allowed to speak out of turn. That means that's Donald Trump's position. Rubio doesn't have his own policy agenda. His job is to carry out Donald Trump's policy agenda. That means that's what Donald Trump and he have discussed, and that's what they've agreed upon. Either Russia and Ukraine come together and work this thing out, or have a good war, fellas. Let us know how it shakes out. That's the only way this can work. And that's also a good thing. I've been very hard on a lot of people, just felt the need to praise a little bit today. And I want to talk about what's happening at the Pentagon. Okay. And I want you to be crystal clear on something. Okay. You have to understand this. If you don't, you can really find yourself getting caught up in the news of the day and caught up in what is not important. Not important. Remember this fact. Fact. The media, in conjunction with Democrats, can and will create the illusion of chaos and dysfunction. Let me repeat that again. The media, in conjunction with Democrats, can and will create the illusion of dysfunction. This is simply a matter of power and money. I'll make it about you. Let's make it about you in your life. Now, let's say you had or have a non-stressful day. Today, maybe it was non-stressful. Maybe tomorrow is non-stressful. Maybe you got to take the kids to school, whatever, run some errands. I could make your day extremely stressful. Could make your day the worst thing in the world. Why? Well, I have a bunch of contacts in the media. I could burn up the phones right now, let them know, hey, you should see what Bob's doing tomorrow. This Bob's a shady character. They could start writing articles about you. Man, you should see what Bob's doing. I bet, you know what? I bet Bob shoplifted something at the grocery store. Someone should look into that. Start sticking cameras in your face. Hey, Bob, what do you have to say about the allegations of shoplifting? People are saying, sources are saying, shoplifting. Over and all day long, story after story. Soon, people unwittingly in your own life are participating in it. You're getting calls and texts from your brother. Hey, Bob, did you shoplift something? Hey, did you see what they wrote in the paper? Hey, Bob, by the time the night's done, you're sitting there smoking a cigarette, having a glass of whiskey, having the worst day ever. Out of nothing, out of thin air, I can create chaos for you. The American media does this for Republicans in Washington, D.C. all the time, and Republicans are famous for falling for it and going along with it. They're doing it right now at the Pentagon. Pete Hegseth was opposed vehemently by people like Joni Ernst, Lindsey Graham behind the scenes for a reason. They cannot afford someone to step in and shake up the way the military-industrial complex has worked in this country. They couldn't stop his nomination, of course, so now they're going to create, and this isn't the last one, I should point out, they're going to create scandals out of nowhere. Sources are saying, hey, this guy said, sources are saying, out of nowhere, they're going to create the illusion of chaos and dysfunction. Pete Hegseth talked about it a little bit.
What a big surprise that a few leakers get fired and suddenly a bunch of hit pieces come out from the same media that peddled the Russia hoax. Won't give back their Pulitzers. They got Pulitzers for a bunch of lies. Pulitzers for a bunch of lies. And on hoaxes, time and time and time again. And as they peddle those lies, no one ever calls them on it. See, this is what the media does. They take anonymous sources from disgruntled former employees, and then they try to slash and burn people and ruin their reputations. Not going to work with me.
He's right. And credit where it's due to Mays Moore for putting together this little montage, because this is exactly what they do. The media loves to do this when it's a Democrat scandal, when it's anything, because again, they view their role as protecting Democrats, slaughtering Republicans and protecting Democrats for American media people, that is what's right, okay? So when a Democrat gets caught in a scandal, well, those are anonymous sources. What are we going to go with anonymous sources? When it's a Republican, sources are saying, Mays Moore put this together, here it was.
President Biden has spent days locked in intense preparation, surrounded by his closest advisors at Camp David. And our sources are telling us tonight that full mock debates are underway at the podium, under the lights. He's even watching tape to know exactly what he's going to see when he steps up to that lectern. His team shot a video during a walkthrough of the CNN studio. And as I reported while covering him at the White House, when Biden prepares, he does so incredibly intensively.
So just how worried were Biden aides before the former president's disastrous debate last summer? According to Ron Klain, his chief of staff, his concerns could not be overstated. At his first meeting with Biden for debate prep, quote, Klain was startled. He'd never seen Biden so exhausted and so out of it. Biden was unaware of what was happening in his own campaign. Halfway through the session, the president excused himself and went off to sit by the pool. Part about the pool, he went off, this is in the middle of debate prep, went off to the pool and he took a nap.
Pretty revealing, isn't it? And again, I want to stress this because there's this cabal. There's a third part of this that I left out. American elected Democrats obviously work hand in hand with the media. You get that. But then there's the 3 million federal employees, ones at the State Department, CIA, FBI, Pentagon. They, again, these are committed communists who believe they should run things. They have sources in the media as well. Pick up their phones. Don't pick up their phones, please. They're not yours. But if you picked up their phones and could look through them, you would find media contact after media contact. So when you're a communist who works at the Pentagon and you're unhappy with something Pete Hegseth says, you take your lunch break, you step outside. Hey, New York Times reporter, meet me for coffee after work. I have something for you. And you show up and you plan a damaging story. Democrats, media, government employees, they coordinate.
It is way past time that Hegseth should either quit or be fired.
And what's happened in the last, few weeks about these two Signalgate atrocities just shows the lack of judgment and that he is the wrong person to be our Secretary of Defense.
Pete Hegseth and Mike Waltz should no longer be in the government, and it's just a complete lack of accountability that Donald Trump is showing by keeping them.
Pete Hegseth needs to resign. And if he won't, the president should fire him. No accountability sends the wrong message.
It's all coordinated. So this is not about Pete Hegseth or the current thing. This is about the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one after that. Don't let it distract you. They invent and create these things, all these headlines, all these questions. It's on CNN tonight. Let it go. All that may have made you uncomfortable, but I am right. By the way, Trump still vocally stands behind him, so good for Trump, good for Pete Hegseth. I would thank you for coming to my YouTube channel, but I know how brilliant it is, and I know you love it here. So subscribe and watch. We're going to start really ramping things up and putting some funny stuff, some interesting stuff out there, some collaborations. Either way, my YouTube channel is officially the place to be. So stick around.